So yesterday, as we discussed, to access class or to create classes, there are two types to do. Two methods. One is creating a global class in SC24, and one is create a local class in SC38. This is class builder, and in SC38, this is normal report programming. So the classes which are created in SC24 are global classes. And in SC38, the classes which we create are local classes. So today, as for now, we don't have to think much about why do we need global classes and why do we need local classes. For now, as a consultant, as an ABAP consultant, the object which we get, we will think that, or we will consider the object as local class only. So for that, I'm going to create a local class for now. Okay. Maybe in the future classes, we will create a global class, but to understand the value of global classes, we will have to first work on local classes. This is okay, right? So now, yesterday we have discussed while creating classes, there are two mandatory steps. One is definition and one is implementation. But is implementation always necessary? Can we just do a class definition and use the attributes? So today we will discuss those things. Like in simple terms, today we will discuss data declaration in classes. Okay. So in usual ABAP, we declare the data via like this, right? Data LV variable type I or C or whatever. Or if it is of types, what we do? We have a type local, name, type. So after this statement, the system will not allocate any memory, correct? Until or unless I declare a variable out of it. So similarly in classes also, so this is standard core ABAP. Okay. So what we have done, we declared one types with two fields, and based on that type, we are declaring a variable. So the memory allocation will be done only after the line 60. Correct? Today, what we will discuss is the same variable declaration in class. Variables in classes are called attributes. So we name the variables, or we call the variables in classes as attributes. Okay. And now there are three kinds of attributes. Let me note down one by one. First one is instance variable or attribute. The second one is static variable or attribute. And the third one is constant. So there are three types of attributes in classes, which are called instance variables, static variables, and constants. Is it clear until here? Hello?
Yeah, yes, Kishore.
No, is it clear until here? There are three types, okay?
Oh.
Now, what is an instance variable? What is static and what is constant? We will discuss now, okay? So write down what are the different types of variables are available. Static and constant. So if you have your systems ready or available, you can also do parallelly so that we all will be on the same page, or else there is anyway recording, so we can do it after the class also. So to create a class, the first step would be just like a subroutine, we have form and form. For function module, we have function module name, and end function module. Similarly, for classes, we have class. Let me name my class something like LCL underscore attribute. LCL attributes, control space. So every class has two components. One is definition and one is implementation. Okay. One is definition and one is implementation, where definition will have all the data declarations and method declarations. So we will not talk about anything about methods today. We will only focus about just the attributes, nothing else. So I'll go to definition first. Now we have opened the class, so we also need to end class. Okay. So the first class is ready. Now our class is just ready. Now what all features does a class have? All these things are there, but for today we are ignoring all these things. But in the future classes, we will be learning everything in depth. So for now, the definition, I'm just closing it here itself. Okay, no implementation. Fine. Now let me create a variable here. Anyone can suggest me any variable of the choice. That's fine. LV underscore variable 1. I'm just putting as type C for now, or let me put it as type I. Okay. So I want this to be as my instance variable. My variable 2 would be a constant, sorry, a static variable. Static variable, and the third attribute would be constants. Variable 3, type I. Okay. Now let me check the syntax. So yesterday someone said one of the benefits of using OOPS would be for security purpose, right?
Yes, yes.
So what is that security? So this is that security. Like you can have security of protected or private for each variable or group of variables. Let us see this with an example. Okay. So we all have used reuse ALV,
Yes, yes.
reuse underscore ALV underscore grid display, correct? This
Yes,
is the
yes.
function module which we all have used. Now let me go to the function module and check the attributes first. Okay, so one important concept of using OOPS would be methods comparatively function modules are fast. Now you ask me why? Why are the methods fast than function modules? Because function modules are defined in a function group. So a function group comprises of a function group will comprise of all the function modules, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So let us see what it is doing actually. Okay, let me just display the function group. So here what I want to tell you is the function module, not only this function module, but a function group will have many function modules where all the data for all the function modules is displayed in the top screen itself. For example, if I go to the top, so am I here restricting any of the variable for any function module? Is it like that? Once I call a function module, the entire function group loads and all the data, all the variables which are declared with data, memory is allocated, correct? So this we all already know. So this is the normal concept only, because here we don't have the concept of public protected and all. So even for now, what I'm telling is let us just put public and let us ignore private and protected. We will do it in the next classes. So for now, I'm just keeping it as public section, right? Now, constants should have a value. Okay. So I'll just put it as 99 for now. So here, what I did is I just created three variables: variable 1, variable 2, and variable 3. Now, the difference between declaration of instance variable and a static variable is static variables we declare with class data. Okay. Static variables are declared with class data keyword. Okay. Constants, it's fine. Chalo. Now, we all know that the first event which is triggered as soon as I click on activate and as soon as I click F8 would be, what is the first keyword or sorry, the event which is triggered? Load of program, right? This should be loaded first. Before start of selection, load of program will take care of all the data declarations and it will load the variables, whatever I'm creating in the memory. Okay. So now here, as soon as I click the F8, what will happen is here, the static variable and the constants are loaded first. Okay, I'll just repeat this once again. As soon as the execution starts, the static variable allocated memory in SAP. Similarly, constants are allocated memory as soon as we load the program. First, we execute the program. So in my class, I have three variables where static variable and constants are loaded first at load of program. Okay, now how will I know? I mean, I'll show you how this happens. So as I have declared all the three variables as public section, I want to use this variables in my program. Okay, so let me just write this statement. It will give, I mean, okay, let us see if this gives an error. Okay, what it says, variable one is unknown. Okay, that's fine, but it is already available in the class. That's fine. What about variable two? Will I be able to use variable two? No, I'm getting syntax error. So let us check with constants. Okay, variable is unknown. Fine. So I'm not able to use the three variables just like that. But I'm telling the static and constants will be loaded first. The memory is allocated, and for class data for type I, the default value is 0, right? For type I, default value is 0. So 0 would be loaded initially for the LV variable 2. But constants 99. Sorry, I mean not the default, but we have given a value called 99. So the value 99 is already there for constants. So now how to access these three variables? Let me check. So normally we are not able to access. So to access static variable, we use this symbol. We use class basically. Okay. We use class name. Now let us see. So how many variables is it showing? After I gave the class name, okay, and the operator, the static variable operator, I have given control space. So now if you can see what all variables are it is accepting, or it is showing me. It is showing me LV variable 2 and LV variable 3. Okay, so that means we can access static variable and constants with class name. Here we are not talking anything about object. We are just in class only. Okay. So what would be the output of this line 86? What do you think the output of the line 86 would be? Okay. It should be 0, right?
Yes.
Because as we said, the default value is 0. So similarly, what is the other variable which I can use in this with classes? It is nothing but constant. So what is the output of this? Line number 88. Obviously 99, correct?
Yes.
Got it. So now we have not created any object. We have not created any implementation. We have just created a class and we are using these variables in my normal program. Fine. Now, how do we use the variable one? This is the question. Okay. Let us see. class variables. So this is using class attributes. We have used these two. Now I want to use the instance variable. So as the name suggests, to use the instance variable, we need to create an instance of it. To use the instance variable, we need to create instance of the class. Instance is nothing but object. Is it okay? To use the instance variables, we need to create an instance of the class. Now, what is this instance and how to create it? Now, for example, so I have a class. It has three attributes: instance, static, constant. So these three are the attributes of the class. Now, to name this class, I need a reference to this class to use the methods and attributes. That is nothing but referring to or naming a class as object. We all know that there is a class, but for this class, we need a name which refers to the class, or the name or the object will have access to all the variables in the class. That is nothing but data L reference type reference to this class. So here what I'm telling is I want to create a reference to the class which I have. This is nothing but just a name. Okay. This is like naming the class so that I will be using all the methods, because see, with LCL attributes, I'm only able to use LV variable 2 and variable 3, correct? So what about the instances? So this is step number 1. Okay. Any doubts on this one? This is nothing but data. I'm just declaring a data which is referring to LCL attributes. With this condition, what will happen is the LREF just points to the class. This LREF points to the class. Nothing much. It will just point like this. But when will I able to use the attributes? When I create an object. Create object of the data which is referring to this. Okay, let me just comment on this also. Now, as this LREF already refers to LCL attributes, I want to check what all variables I can access. Variable 1 and variable 2 it is saying. Okay. Let us see. You see this? Access using a zero object reference is not possible. So where is the error? Here it is. I'm trying to point out to a variable which is not yet. I'm pointing to a variable using my reference. One second. So is this point clear? Like what is happening here? Anyone? We are just pointing to the class in this line number 93. The memory is not yet allocated. When we do data type ref2, a reference variable is created. No memory is allocated yet. This is more or less like this statement. The top we have this statement, right? Types. So if we give this type statement, will the memory get allocated? There will be no memory allocated, right? We are just creating a temporary structure. But once if we give the data and a variable name and then a type, only then the memory would be allocated. Similarly, what I'm saying is here, it is more or less like a types declaration only. Types, we are referring to the class. That's it. We are not able to use the variables because we need to allocate memory. To allocate memory, we need to create a class. Sorry, we need to create an object. Is it clear until here, or is there any confusion?
It's okay.
It's okay now. Or let me just repeat. To create an object. Okay, fine. I think we have 10 more minutes. So initially we have declared something like this. Okay, we have declared a reference variable which is typing to the class. Now to allocate memory, we need to create an object. Okay, now see what will happen. I will uncomment this line. Now I will use the same. I will try to access variable 1. Will I be able to access? Yes. Okay, so now as soon as I create an object lref, what will happen is so as soon as I create an object lref, what will happen is I will have an object with a name, okay, with a name lobj, lref with the below attributes. The below attributes would be lv variable 1 with default value 0, and variable 2 with 0, and variable 3 with 99. So all these things are available for this object. Okay, now we are able to use lv variable 1. Fine. So what about once now I have the object with me. Okay, now this has the entire attribute section of the class. Using an object, I can use all these variables. So how do you access variable 2? Let us try. So initially we saw this symbol, right, to access the static variable. Let me try the same thing now. So this is my variable, sorry, this is my object. Okay. Will I get an error? Right. It says lref is unknown. So the thing is, we should use this symbol, arrow symbol. Okay. We need to use the arrow operator. You see, now it is activated. Let us see now what will happen. Using object. Zero is for variable 2. This is 99 is the constants using object attributes. So both have the value 0 and 0. Now let me just add some data to this. Okay. So these two are the static variable, static, instance, and constant. So let me load some data. So how do we load the data into an instance variable? By using this method. Okay. By directly referencing the variable along with the object. I will put it as 1. For variable 2, it is 2. So can we change the constants? Can we change the value of constants? No, right? You see, we cannot change the constants. We can only use the constants. Can we change the data of static variables? Yes, we can change the data of static variables. Now let us see 1 to 99. Okay. Now let us create another object and check if these values are still available or not. Okay. So let me create a new class, new object. Data ref 1 object 2 attributes. And now I will name my instance variable as 5. Okay. I will just leave the static variable like this. Now let us execute the program. Let us see the same thing in debug. Okay. So initially, just after the class, we are trying to use our static variable, which is which has a value 0, and my constant, which has a value 99. So I'm displaying it as it is. Done. Now I'm creating an object lref. So as soon as I create an object lref, what will happen is in the system, lv variable 1 will be loaded with default 0. lv variable 2 will have 0 value. lv variable 3, which is a constant attribute, will have a value 99 for this object lref. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm populating lv variable 1 with 1. This is 2. And constant we cannot change. This is clear. Now see, now this part is very important. Now I'm creating one more object. Now what will happen when I create one more object? Any idea? So when I try to create one more object, what will happen? lref2. When we create object 2 lref2, the below will happen. Okay. lv variable will be loaded with default 0 as usual. Okay. What about lv variable 2, which is a static variable? We have already changed it, right? The static variable, we have already changed it with this object. So lv variable 2 will be allocated with value 2 because we gave 2 here. Understood? Constant will have value 99 as usual. Let us see this in the debug mode. I created LREF1. I'm loading the data LV variable with 5. Okay, so initially I have loaded the variable 1 with 1, and now I'm changing this instance. This instance of okay. Let me change this one. So this should be LREF1 actually. So LREF1 these are all LREF1. Okay. Okay. Now LREF1 variable 1 the value is 5. What about this value? Any guess what this variable 2 will hold? This is a static variable, right? Any guess on what would be the value of the static variable? It will be 2 because static variable data will be shared across all the objects. So these are static and constants.